Hi there. Hey, good morning. It's Chris Conroy, Executive Vice President of Sales, one of the partners here at Insurance Agency Marketing out of Omaha. So thanks for joining us this morning. I know we got a great program. It's the beginning of a three-part series on Cyber Sense, which is really talking about cybersecurity best practices, what you could do to protect yourself, your practice, and also your clients. So this is an issue that continues to evolve. It's become a huge international concern. And really, we got a lot of feedback, Misha, and I'll introduce you in a second, of people say, well, what can I do? They want to get educated. They want to be able to say, what can I do to protect myself and have my clients out? And so we're talking to obviously thousands of independent agents every day. We want to help you. We're an advocate for you. We're an advocate for the industry and your customers. So we're pleased to kick things off today, our part one about fundamentals of cybersecurity. Encourage you to take a look at part two, part three. Part two is about best practices and threats. Part three are tools and resources. We will touch at the end about an incredible discount opportunity to get credit monitoring at 68% off through TransUnion. Great deal, partner with them. But let me introduce Misha Korkanov, who is our cybersecurity expert here at IAMS. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. Welcome again to our CyberSense series part one. I'm excited to be here. We're gonna keep seeing things simple, practical, and interactive. So think about a few questions and answer a few quick polls along the way.
Yeah, well, great. Thanks, Misha. We're going to get into it, do a quick conversation about IAMS and, for a few minutes here before we get into the program. I know a number of you I can see have done business with us, so thank you, appreciate it. If you haven't, we'll go through a little bit about IAMS, then we'll get into the program here in a few minutes. So let's move on. Yeah, first of all, as a leading IMO, our goal is to help independent advisors out there in the annuities life insurance world. We know that having good partnerships with tech vendors is important. So we're pleased to have partnered, Firelight, iPipeline, Sunfire, Electronic Contracting. Luma is a more recent one where we can take a look at all of your sales that you ever sold and identify opportunities for things like replacements and underperforming products. So just know we have a ton of e-app solutions. Go to our IAMSinc website and talk to your sales directors here. If you don't have one, just give us a call, 800-255-5055. We'll help you out. Move on to the next slide about IAMS. So, one thing that's really differentiates us from a lot of the competition is our creative services department. So whether you're an agency, independent advisor, you need a refresh of your marketing program, what you're doing, maybe it's working, maybe it's not, maybe you don't know, that's okay. We'll go through an in-depth marketing analysis of what you're doing to make sure you're getting the right return on investment on what your opportunity is to connect with clients. So I know a lot of people out there would like to get into digital, would like to get into social media, don't know how to do it. That's okay. We have a whole team who's dedicated to basically helping independent advisors, independent agents out there to make it easy. And let us do that for you. Let us, put you on staff, not your payroll. But moving on. More on the creative services. So, one thing people say, how do I get started? So I would say this, talk to anybody here, anybody in the sales team. We are committed to, frankly, answering the phone in two rings, no voicemails, no extensions. You'll get somebody. Asked if you don't have a marketing sales director, ask for one, ask for somebody who can help you with doing a market analysis, complimentary. Imagine we're like a deep dive consultant to take a look at what are you doing to run your business, to get in front of clients, strengthen your brand, reach your target market, and make sure you're spending your money wisely so that you're running your business effectively. So our goal is to make you successful. Just ask for one of those complimentary marketing analysis and you'll be impressed. Moving on. Another part that we're continuing to see a lot of growth on is we have a sister company called IAMS Wealth Management. It's an SEC registered RIA. So anywhere in the country, if you're an investment advisor or you're considering becoming one, a Series 65, give us a call. That's a growing part of the industry. It gives you an opportunity to be a holistic advisor, not just an insurance advisor. You might already have an existing AUM book of business. You're looking for somebody to partner on a more efficient basis, have access to a lot of the tools and technology that we have at IAMS Wealth. Just give us a call. You can call into our main number here at 800-255-5055. We'll hook you up with the wealth management team and connect with you so you can understand if that's a good fit for you. The other big thing is we do a ton of training and education. So literally we're doing like 300 webinars a year, including things like this on a whole host of things, not just carrier products. It's a lot about marketing, sales ideas. And we think it's important to get people to live events, live training events. So many of our competitors don't do that anymore. Few carriers do that anymore. But we have a very, very in-depth, intensive producer academy opportunity for you, which is really opportunity to get in front of and hear from top multi-million dollar keynote speakers, hear from the best sales marketing programs out in the industry, and then many other keynote speakers in the top program. We have one coming up June 4, 5, 6 here in Omaha. We'll have more through the course of the year. So moving on to the next topic, if you're interested in that, just give your sales director a call. We can get you an invitation, see if that's a good fit for you. We, of course, have great incentive opportunities. So if you're one of the producers who can qualify, we have an 18-month qualification for our event in Quebec, which is our top producer summit. We've been doing these for over 20 years. This one's going to be a great one at the Chateau Fairmont up there in Quebec City. Beautiful place, iconic hotel. Great way to network and connect with some of the other top producers in the country and get a well-deserved recognition. We have a great social media presence, so we're out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, other platforms. So I encourage you to follow us, like us. There's a lot of great content ideas that we circulate around there. So I'm going to pass it over to Misha again and give us a little bit of introduction and regulatory compliance. I'll have a couple comments, and we'll have a few polling questions along the way because we want to make this interactive. But over to you, Misha.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So today is basically about introducing you guys to the fundamentals of cybersecurity, and we're gonna move on. So main focus is gonna be about why cybersecurity matters, especially for independent agents, and what you need to know to stay protected and compliant. You might be wondering, why would I care about cybersecurity? You're busy handling clients' data, and the tech side might feel a little bit overwhelming, but here's the thing. You independent agents are the prime target. Hackers know that you have sensitive information, and they're also aware that your finances are stretched thinner than in big companies. Here's a quick poll question for you. How often do you update your system's passwords?
Yeah, so we'll keep that poll, these polls up there for a couple seconds here, but go ahead if you don't mind, interact. So we'd love to get feedback about our first polling question is how often do you update your passwords? I know we went through a lot of changes here at IAMS with best practices this last year, which has really enhanced it. But looks like, I don't know, looks people are doing maybe 3 to 6 months or some only when they're forced.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising, right?
Yeah. You know what? It's fine. Every 3-4 months. Obviously the best answer is every month, just to stay more protected and secure, and you can use password managers to not forget your passwords. But definitely don't do it when you're forced to. Okay, we're gonna move on, and we can talk about this chart. You can see that incidents from 2020 to 2025 skyrocketed, and not just major companies. Hackers are actually targeting small businesses, independent businesses, and also insurance agencies. The cost, it's not just financially, it's a loss of reputation, it's a client loss, regulatory fines, and even closure. 60% of small businesses closed within 6 months after a major cybersecurity incident.
Yeah, and this, you see this, Misha, boy, there's a huge increase in phishing, which I know we're going to talk about in a second. Is it any insights like why phishing?
Well, phishing has a really high risk, low cost reward. Also, it targets a lot of people at the same time, as well as that it leads to something bigger after that, like a data breach or ransomware. And also it exploits the human factor, because it is much easier to catch a human on a mistake other than a system. Let's move on and talk about our common cyber threats. And today we're going to talk about 3 most common ones, like phishing, data breach, and ransomware. Oh, before we start doing that, here's a quick example for you of a lawsuit that happened with United Healthcare, and I'm gonna pass it to Chris here.
Yeah, so this was, we watched kind of what's going on in the industry. I think you hear about cybersecurity breaches, all different kinds of business, but it affects insurance for a lot of the same reasons Misha mentioned, which is, well, we have a lot of sensitive data, right? So United Healthcare, which is maybe the largest health company, in the industry, but was alleged in this breach they had last year because they had outdated infrastructure. It is one of the largest companies in the U.S. They had no consistent multi-factor authentication, or MFA, which is kind of a pain. You got to bring up your phone and have a multi-factor, but it's a really, really good measure to protect you and your customers. And then they weren't segmenting the data. So because of that, that led to some pretty significant lawsuits. We'll see where that all goes, but it affected 190 million people in the United States.
Some big numbers. Okay, let's move on. Talk a bit more about phishing. Usually phishing is like a fake email, urgent request, or fake vendor notice. And most of the time, phishing scams are trying to create urgency, maybe make you feel feared or excited. Here's a quick tip for you. Before you click on any suspicious links from suspicious email addresses, just hover over it, verify the sender domains, and avoid clicking it without confirming authenticity. Here's a quick poll question for you again, and it's: have you ever received an email that a phishing email that looked real?
Yeah, so we'll put that poll question up there. Every it looks like I know I have.
Yeah,
I probably get
I
one.
think everybody has.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a couple a week.
Yeah.
And sometimes, heck, you might have got one that looked like it was for me, but it really wasn't. And sometimes it's hard to tell, but I think a lot of what we're seeing is, boy, most everybody they're getting them, quite a bit. And I think, the reality is that is a common thing that even our independent agents are being affected by.
Yeah, it is very common, and they actually it's getting harder to recognize them with the AI use. Um, and don't be surprised when you get one, or don't be scared. There's a bunch of tools where you can make sure that you know how to recognize the phishing email. You can find a lot of them online for free. It's like a training.
And we'll talk more, I think, in our other part 2s and 3s about some of those tools and things that you can do. So stay on for the other programs too. Let's move on to the next slide.
All right, data breaches. So data breaches are usually caused by basic errors like insecure Wi-Fi, lost laptops, or just weak credentials. And as we can see, according to IBM's 2024 cost of data breach report, is on average almost $5 million, and almost half of them include customers' personal data. And it's not just financial damage; it's the loss of client confidence and trust. Those things can cause the end of your business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, reputation obviously is everything in our business. When you're connected with clients, if you lose that trust, you lose your business.
Yeah. Um, let's talk a little bit about ransomware. Ransomware usually encrypts your data, and then threat actors demand payment to let you get the access to your data again. And if you pay, they will probably fully recover, but it's not 100% confirmed, because they can just get money off of you and scam you and then keep selling your data and make more money. So the key defenses for that are regular backups. You got to make sure that you back up your data regularly, and in case of that, you can recover it quickly. Second, try to use strong antivirus software. Use zero trust email practices, no matter from who it comes. You gotta check what that email has in it, and if it doesn't have any, again, phishing attacks, phishing links, that's how they get into your system. And then in case of a ransom, you gotta make sure that all of the affected systems are disconnected.
Yeah. I know we'll talk at the end here, but because of our partnership with TransUnion and the 68% discount on the normal price they have that we've secured, I know if you sign up for that, any of those packages, there are access, so you have a partner. So if you had a ransomware or breach, or maybe you didn't know what was going on, if you sign up with that at the discount price, you can still get access. You got a trusted partner. who can help you walk through this and what are all the requirements. But my gosh, if you were encrypted and you couldn't get into your system, you want to know what the heck do I do, right? So they can be a good partner to help you out.
All right. We've seen why cybersecurity matters. Now let's move on and talk about your legal responsibilities. So if you handle financial data or information, you must comply with laws like GLBA, Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, FTC, HIPAA, and UTPA. It is really important because not even for business, but also for independent agents, because in case of a cybersecurity incident, you can get fined, and usually those fines are pretty heavy. Let's move on and talk deeper about the GOBA. The Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, often called GOBA, applies to any business that offers financial services. That includes independent agents as well. So the GOBA has two main requirements. You must have a written security plan that protects your client's information, and you gotta explain to your clients how you collect, use, and share their personal information. Let's talk a little bit about the security plan. This plan needs to show that you've identified risks, assessed how you're handling data, and taking steps to minimize those risks like encryption, password policies, and staff training. And if you're just by yourself and don't have any staff, it's just your own training. If you don't have the written plan or if it's outdated, it's a major vulnerability. Here's another quick call for you. Do you have a formal written security plan?
Yeah, so we'll give that full question again. Security plan, which, kind of depends. I mean, some people, if you're with a broker dealer or a big agency, they may have a plan. A lot of the people we work with are really kind of on their own. I suspect almost none of them have a plan, is the reality. I know we as a firm here always updating it, work closely with Misha and also Farah, another one of our experts, to develop kind of revised plans. But do you have a plan, I guess is the question. You probably, or you don't know. The answer is no. That's fine. That's another thing where we encourage you to, if you're not sure what to do, actually you can give us a call. We can put you in the right place to help with resources.
Yeah.
And it looks like the answer's there.
They split.
Yeah, it's like some knows and I'm not sure, a lot of not sure's. It's good that, I don't know, about half are maybe reviewing it, on an annual basis, but boy, that leaves about half that don't.
Yeah.
So,
well, again, if you don't have it, it's probably something you need to tackle soon.
Yeah.
HIPAA. I'm sure most of you are familiar with HIPAA, but let's talk a little bit about its cybersecurity part. And it says that if you sell health insurance or touch any health data, HIPAA comes into play. HIPAA requires you to protect something they called PHI, protected health information. That's anything from medical histories to insurance records. HIPAA compliance means that you gotta encrypt any health data you store or send, limiting access only to the people that need it. So it means you can only share it with people like doctors or customer itself. And you gotta have procedures in case if something happens, like a breach, meaning you gotta notify your clients. Violations are serious. Even a simple mistake can cause a big customer data loss. And if there's something wrong with the encryption, it can trigger a fine. And in 2025, the fines are stricter than ever, and enforcement as well. We can move on and talk about the UTPA. It is the Unfair Trade Practices Act, and it's about protecting consumers from dishonest behavior, meaning that you, actually, let me change myself a little bit. In insurance sector, it means that you are going to go against false advertising, against misrepresentation of coverage. You cannot use pressure tactics, and you can't fail to protect the data. If you have data breach and clients haven't probably warned about risks, it could be seen as a misrepresentation under UTPA. And penalties can include fines, license suspension, even losing the right to sell insurance in that state. Bottom line, cybersecurity isn't just about tech, it's about protecting your client and being ethical and fair towards him. Your reputation is everything. Let's move on and talk about safeguards rules. The FTC is an update to the GOBA that took effect fully in July 2023. It says financial institutions must have a written information security program that assesses foreseeable risks, designs and implements security controls, and regularly tests and monitors those controls, trains employees, and oversees third parties vendors. And if there's a notification event where sensitive data could have been compromised or stolen, you must report it to the FTC within 30 days. The goal isn't to just react to breaches, it's about preventing them in the first place. I'm going to pass it to Chris and let him talk a little bit about NAIC.
Yeah, so the NAIC, which is the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, so the state regulators get together, they create model laws, and they've created a cybersecurity model law that's been adopted in 26 states as of February 2025. And what we're finding is more and more states are adopting that model law. So go to the next slide here. You can see the states that have adopted that, and we call it NAIC 668 because we like to throw numbers around. But bottom line here is you see a lot of states that have adopted that. That is imposed not just on the carrier, but also you as an independent agent or an agency owner. You have an obligation to comply with that. And believe it or not, actually, I've heard of there's been some audits out there, examinations and so forth that are happening by insurance departments. Just because you might not be in red or yellow there, that doesn't mean there aren't some state-specific laws. Like example, if you're in California, they have special privacy protection laws. You probably know that, or if you don't, with respect to cookies and what kind of information you're gathering and so forth. So this is just with respect to that new cybersecurity model law of what's called 668. So it has broad coverage, continue to get bigger and bigger across the country.
Yes, and talking about specific states, the most strict ones are the New York and California. Again, they require you to have encryption standards and multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, good point, Misha. I mean, New York, I know, is a very difficult state, meaning they have a lot more requirements. This is imposed upon independent advisors, independent agents, IMOs, carriers, everybody. So, there's what you have to jump through varies depending upon the size and what your kind of activities are. You have our annual cybersecurity compliance filings that we just had to do recently here a couple weeks ago. That's another one where you better know your state because eventually they're gonna knock on your door. You just need to be prepared.
Yeah, and if you're licensed in multiple states, you got to make sure that you know
all of them, right?
And all the regulations for all of those states, not just your home state.
This is where we got to launch one about launch a polling question here about are you aware of your state specific laws? And I would say a lot of people probably don't, at least the agents that we're talking to. So are you aware of it? If go ahead and answer that question. It might be you're in one of those red states. It might be you sort of know, or hey, I think I have multiple states. I know my home state, but I don't know, the border state. I'm a non-resident. So it looks like a lot of people actually probably don't know or not that familiar. So that's another one where we can have a conversation with you like, okay, hey, I'm in Kansas or Texas. What do I need to know? And we can direct you to the right resources. We also will talk about TransUnion who can help you partner. But let's move on.
Okay, now that we discussed NIC and its model law, let's move to something you should do in case of a cybersecurity attack. So, incident response. When a breach happens, usually you don't have to freak out. Yes, it's not the greatest situation to be in, but there are a few steps you should follow. First, you gotta isolate your affected systems immediately. You gotta call your IT provider or legal counsel. After that, you gotta notify all the regulators and your clients. And then don't forget to preserve the evidence for the investigation. having a written plan before disaster would definitely help you, because you know, you might get nervous in that situation, a little bit of pressure, and if you have it already prepared before, you know what to do and how to act.
Yeah, and I know like New York, for example, if everybody has a resident, non-resident license there, may require that you have an instant response plan. I know we have one there as required. And so it's really like your playbook of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? You know, it's like, you know, breaking, you know, in case of a fire or something. So you have a game plan. In some cases, you got to notify within 72 hours.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be running around not knowing what to do. Again, we'll help you at the end with TransUnion. We have the discount, and they can, I think, help you in designing the, you know, what that could look like.
Well, actually, one of the requirements for an AIC, this new model law, is that you're required to have the written incident response plan.
Oh, yeah. So that's half the states. You better have a game plan. And if you get audited, you don't have a, you know, written plan, you're out of compliance.
All right, let's go to the next one. And it's about training, which is also important. And a 2024 study found that 30% of insurance offices employees click phishing links, which means they're lacking training. Online training prevents the mistakes. Simple monthly reminders, quarterly drills, and visible policies work better than a one-time training session. So don't just put it aside, especially in the nowadays world. It's really important that you stay updated or keep your memory fresh with what is surrounding you, what threats you're facing, and don't take it for granted. You really have to put some time in it, and it will protect you and your clients.
And there's some good training programs out there, but we partner with an HR firm that provides that. You know, you may have access to that. If you're not sure, as another one where, you know, we might be able to lead you in the right direction, so you're aware of it. By getting on this program, you're doing the right first step, which is being more aware of what those risks are. But, you know, imagine you're taking that to the next level to, you know, you and your staff.
Yeah, you know, the most of the attacks don't happen because of hackers in the hoodies. They happen because people simply click on a bad link, and um, training will help you prevent that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another quick poll question for you. Do you feel like you or your staff could spot a phishing attack today?
Yeah, so phishing attacks, I know I would probably say, I don't think so, because I'm not sure exactly. I mean, they're so sophisticated, especially with AI, that these look very credible. They're hard to detect. I mean, if somebody's asking me for payment information, we've seen some pretty sophisticated ones. I know talking to some carriers, I'm just blown away at how complicated or how complex these are. They look very credible. They might even integrate with phone calls and you know, other texting and so forth. But looks like, yeah, I think a lot of people would not exactly know. It looks like they certainly could improve. Some are doing maybe a 30 you're doing some training, so that's good. And maybe some you don't have any staff. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, if you don't think you could spot it, it's fine. There is a bunch of ways to improve your training. Again, as I said, it's available online, and you can use AI tools like everyone knows about it. ChatGPT could also help you, or you can find some information. And don't be afraid, just utilize those resources. Let's talk about what's at stake. It's a lot is actually at stake. A breach impacts your reputation, your client's confidence in your practice, your finances. You're gonna face legal liabilities. Your agency will lose their reputation, and your financial future in general. You know, cybersecurity isn't optional anymore; is the foundation for survival and growth. Um, I'm gonna pass it to Chris
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Thanks, Misha. I mean, I know we covered this. This was a fundamentals introduction. And hopefully you all got a great overview there. I know there's a lot of specific threats. We're a huge target, as Misha shared, because we carry a lot of financial information on our clients, medical information, and that's valuable in the marketplace, kind of the dark web and other places. So that's the world we're in. It's just going to get more complicated. So our you know, encouragement is get educated, get your staff educated, trained, be on the lookout for that. We're going to talk a little bit here now that we have access to a great discount One, credit monitoring is a great thing everybody ought to be doing, and it's really for the cost is worth doing. We were able to essentially partner with TransUnion, one of the largest CRAs out there, who has a partnership to provide access to a lot of the detection methods, and you can get a 68% discount. Just reach out to your sales director. If you're interested in that, contact us, shoot us an email, call us, we'll get you that. You could also take that to your clients. So again, by your partnership, just you take contract with IAMS, you get access to that. That's a great first step. It's kind of easy. I'd encourage you to take a little time, put in when you fill out your profile and all that. That way, the more the more robust, the better, as far as deterring the would-be fraudsters that are going to go in there and take advantage. The next series, we're going to be talking about specific threats to the insurance industry. We have a best practices guide that we developed of like, well, what should you do immediately? Whether it's credit monitoring, freeze your credit, look out for these things, train, a little bit more the 202 level, and some real world case studies. So again, our goal is to educate you to be at a better position, so you're keeping the thief out of your business is really the goal here. So a lot more on that. Again, if you're interested in that discount, we got that. And let's see if we have a quick question here. I think we got along the way. Is one question, it looks like Misha's, what's a good idea or best step to protect against phishing?
Well, there's 4 things that you gotta follow. Is you gotta verify the sender credentials. You gotta use the multi-factor authentication, which is MFA. It will prevent the unauthorized logins. You gotta educate yourself and your employees on phishing attempts, and you gotta implement in email security. And most of the email apps have it as a built-in function, which means that your emails from suspicious addresses will be filtered and sent into a spam folder or junk folder, or they even have another one, some of them do, it's just called phishing, blocked emails.
Right. So there's a lot of great ways to deter that. We can help. You might be with a large, I don't know, broker dealer or agency that's got some of this in place. You may not. I know a lot of the people we work with are really kind of on their own, and so they don't know where to start. We can help you. I mean, I know if you have outdated, you might see those patches like, hey, you want to update your patch, Microsoft. You really should be doing those kinds of things. We'll talk about that more in series 2 and 3. But those security patches, having those updates also on your phone is critical, because you don't want to put your business at risk. You don't want to put your clients at risk, because your reputation is everything. We're in a like and trust business, obviously, and having that goodwill is just critical. So, this is part of our IAM series on advocating for you. We are a big believer on if we can help you protect yourself, not only to grow your business, but also protect your business. And this is part of that series. So again, encourage you to check out part 2, it'll be next Wednesday. Part 3 is kind of the last one, of which we'll talk about specific tools and resources. We hope you found this valuable and helpful today. We're going to wrap up. And again, follow up with us. You can call our number 800-255-5055. Go to our website, imsinc.com. Give us a call, and we'd love to talk with you more. Thank you very much.